So recently they have renamed it to Application Access Manager. So in AIN we have total 3 subcomponents. So what is the need of a means? Basically, we need to. In case, if you want to avoid any hard-coded credentials in the scripts, then we need to use this AIN module in the Cyber. AIN is a separate component. So we need to install a CP or CCE. So CP is agent-based. Then the CCP is agentless. What is the CP called Credential Provider? Credential Provider. Okay. One more component is it? Yeah. CCP Central Credential Provider. Okay. So, for example, some applications are there and inside that application's code there is a hard-coded username and password to connect to database, or they may use that username and password to connect to some other application like that they have configured. So if you want to remove that hard-coded credentials and if you want to onboard those credentials also that are privileged accounts, also vault and at runtime whenever that application connected to another application at that time, at that point of time only if that application needs to fetch the password from the world, then we need to configure this AIN concept. Okay, so in AIN, we have 3 subcomponents: Credential Provider, Central Credential Provider and Application Server Credential Provider. So Central Credential Provider means agent-based. So in case if we have any critical applications, then we can go with CP Credential Provider. So we need to install an agent in the application server. So that agent will retrieve the password from the world whenever required. So CCP means Central Credential Provider. No need to install any agent in the application server. So just we need to provide that CCP URL, our safe name, object name, some other details we need to provide. So, using the details, that application code will retrieve the password from the world at runtime and it will connect to database or some other application. And third one is a CP Application Server Credential Provider. So this will be used in web servers like Apache, Tomcat, IIS or some other web servers. So in case, in that web servers we have IS apples. So if you want to write the passwords of that IS apple, then we need to go for ASCP. Let me .NET code. So this entire is the .NET code. So inside this .NET code, this is our cyber code. So here we need to provide that application ID and our safe name, folder root and object name. So if you provide all these details and if you add that username, which user will fetch the password from that application account? We need to add that username also in our application. Then it will fetch the password from the world. Now you can save your in case. If you have installed CP, then one provider user will be created in the world. Same like a CPM user. One provider user will be created on the world. So that provider ID should be a member of the safe with retrieve permission. So that application team will use that provider ID to retrieve the password from the safe. So for retrieving that password by provider ID, we need to provide that safe details, object details and folder root, all this stuff. So if you provide all this stuff, they will run that code and, using that provider ID, it will fix the password from the world. So in their application server also. After installing CP Agent, one service will be running. I don't remember exactly the service name. Cyber, some provider service kind of thing will come. Okay, so that service need to be running and that service will be used to communicate to the world by provider users. Now go to Applications tab. About Reports. Click on Add Application on the right-hand side. Yeah, just here give some test something. Something. Yeah. Location would be what? So here you have created one application. Now click on Add button here. Authentication. We have three types of authentication. OS has on the right-hand side table. Yeah. So OS user path has. So if you select OS user, click on OS user. So here we need to provide username. For example, you have one user in the AD. What is that? Test user or something, dr something. Dr user 1 or something. Yeah. Something, user 1 or something. That's okay. Anything. Okay. Now, so if you add this user here, and if you add this application ID on the safe level with permission, then that application team will fetch the password using this application ID, and we need to provide the safe details and other details. Also, while fetching the password, they will use this. We like admin as the username for logging into the world server. It's more of a service account kind. Yeah, but the password keeps rotating and every time it queries in and gets a new password and execute the application. Okay, and the path would be. I don't recall exactly. We need to check and has so we can generate. Has also. So from there and they will generate the has and they will give us to put that has value here. So if that has matches, then only it will authenticate and it will do the password. Okay. And we can configure that allowed missions also from what missions. We can provide access to this test application. So we can provide that. I add the IP address here. Right. IP or the host name or whatever. We can do that. Okay. Maybe to say that only the production will come in and things like that, right? Just for restricting access. That's it. If you don't mention any allowed missions, then it will provide access to all missions, okay. So this is about aim. But if you really do, if you do on hands-on, then only you will get more knowledge on the or even that integrations part. Also, If you do on hands-on, then only we will get more knowledge. So in our lab we can't stimulate all the stuff.